You see, Mr. Speaker, some people, they feel their family don't have name. So they can drag it in the dirt and they can say what they want about you. But when it's other people, that's why I said history can be cruel, but the present can be more cruel. Mr. Speaker, there are some very interesting things in this. Mr. Speaker, I'm making reference to the contract signed. And Mr. Speaker, the two names that I see there, name of the contractor or the person who signs, Managing Director, Allison Gajadha. Signature or name of position for the ministry, Dr. Allison Gajadha. Position, Permanent Secretary. Now, Mr. Speaker, I'm not doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It's in the document. And I've committed to making it a document of the House, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, I have to ask this question here today. What is the relationship between the contractor
Honourable Member,
and the permanent
what is
secretary?
the relevance of that question? What is the relevance of that question?
I'm answering you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's hear it.
It's not the issue of who is the permanent secretary. It is the issue of who signs.
What is the relevance of your suggestion?
Mr.
What
Speaker,
are you saying?
I'm coming to this.
Please say it quickly.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, in the past, several accusations were leveled.
Honourable Member, we're not going into the past now. You have embarked on a course of conduct here. You need to tell me what the relevance is.
Mr. Speaker, you are in charge of this House. You will allow me to make my presentation, or you will not allow me to make my presentation. I am making reference to the signatories on behalf of the government of St. Lucia and the contractor.
What are you saying? What is
and
your
the point I am making is, why is this contract? Why I have questions about this contract?
Have you investigated the relationship?
I don't know the relationship, Mr.
So why are you going there?
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, I will not have you try and impute any improper motives to anybody outside of this House or inside without proper evidence or proper foundation.
Mr. Speaker.
Please do not go there.
Mr. Speaker, I am making reference to a document of the ministry. So you are telling me that I cannot make...
I have asked you, this is the last time I'll ask you. What is the relevance?
But Mr. Speaker, I am developing my point as to why this contract was signed.
Before you continue, what is the relevance?
Mr. Speaker, the relevance is we need to establish how this contract went through.
That's a completely different thing to where you've been going.
Mr. Speaker,
if you want to present your contribution on the nature of the contract, that's fine.
Okay, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. But I will come back, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will come back to this one, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the bill, the bills in this, and you will understand where I'm going, Mr. Speaker. The bill of quantities here, Mr. Speaker. It is so small you can't even find it. Mr. Speaker, this is the bill of quantities. A quarter page. Mr. Speaker, I have seen other projects and other contracts that cost less than $10 million. And the bill of quantities, Mr. Speaker, is about 40 pages. On this one, Mr. Speaker, it is 1 page. 1 page. And it just gives grand summary. And on this bill of quantities is $25,039,383.58. That is the extent of the bill of quantities, Mr. Speaker. Now you have to ask yourself, Mr. Speaker, how, with such limited information, how could the ministry go into signing a contract for this amount of money with that little bit of information? Mr. Speaker, there's more. There's more. Mr. Speaker, now this book doesn't have all the pages, but in this instance it has page 24. Page 24 says, time of completion of works, 450 calendar days from commencement date. The line below, defects notification period, 450 calendar days from commencement date. Now, Mr. Speaker, every project that is executed by a contractor on behalf of the government of St. Lucia have a defects liability period. They have since changed it from defects liability period to defects notification period. Mr. Speaker, how can the project's defects liability period end the same day that the project ends? So you don't want me to be concerned, Mr. Speaker? Most roads have 1 year defects liability period. If you do concrete works, it has a defects liability period depending on the scope of the works. Mr. Speaker, is it passing strange that both the defects liability period, so in other words, Mr. Speaker, you know what this is saying? The contractor finishes the road today, he does the handover, and all his liabilities are over. Mr. Speaker, I want to know how you're explaining this, because apparently you don't know what's going on. Mr. Speaker, but you didn't hear what I read. 450 calendar days from commencement date is the completion of the project. 450 calendar days from the commencement is the same time period of the defects liability period. Mr. Speaker, I can only go on what is there. Okay? And if that is what the bid submitted, anybody who knows anything about bidding and looking at that process would know that this is a component that should be rejected. Mr. Speaker, how can you have? So you are telling me that the contractor can go and build the road, do shoddy work, on the surface it may look good, and then when he hands over the road to the government today, he has no more liability towards anything? Mr. Speaker, that's what's in the document. Both of them have the same commencement period and the same ending time period. And you don't want me to be concerned? You don't want me to question how this is happening? The government can enter into a contract of that nature?
Honorable Member, I don't want to give you a lecture in contract law, but that's not what it means. And I think you should know that. You were in the ministry for a period of time. You know that the defects liability period does not mean that it absolves the contractor from liability.
Mr. Speaker,
so please do not give the wrong impression.
Mr. Speaker, you will allow me to make my point?
No.
I didn't know you were part of the debate, Mr. Speaker.
When I am speaking, you sit down. If something is blatantly wrong, I will stop you because you're out of order. And you should know that the defects liability period does not absolve the contractor from liability. Do you know what it means? It means that during that period, if there is something wrong, the retention that is kept would be utilized to repair those defects. It does not absolve the contractor from liability. Now, please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I realize for a long time you want to be part of the debate, but when you want to be part of the debate, come on this side or come on this side.
Honorable Member, you are being out of order. Again.
Well, do what you have to do, Mr. Speaker.
If you can persist in this, I will do what I have to do.
You go right ahead, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, you think I can get fair treatment in this house? You think you want to stop me when I mention certain names on the contract?
Honorable Member, please proceed with your contribution.
Well, Mr. Speaker, if I'm going to proceed with my contribution, you allow me to proceed with my contribution.
You will proceed within the rules, the standing orders.
Mr. Speaker, I am reading what's in the contract. You want to come and interpret contract to me in this honorable house? And I'm supposed to sit there and listen to you interpreting contract? Since when your role is to interpret contract in the house? Since when that's your role? How you mean what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I am telling you, I am reading what's in the contract. You want to come and interpret contract to me as Speaker of the House? My interpretation is false. I am asking this honorable house. I am saying that you have in your project, in your bill that was signed, in the contract document, that time for completion of works is 450 days. Defects notification period is 450 days from commencement. And I'm asking, how is that possible? And I want you to show me other contracts where it has been done that way. Show me. Because, like you said, I was minister. And I know that when contractors design works, so if the work is short, the retention is only 10%. Only 10%. 10% of the contract sum is how much? $2.9 million. So if the whole surface of the road is defective because the work was not properly done, you're telling me that the contractor has been absolved and you're going to use the 10% retention? And that's how you want to interpret law to me about contracts?
Honorable Member, you are being disrespectful to the chair. Please maintain your respect for this, for me, for this position, for the House, for yourself, for the people that you are representing. Please do not persist in that level of debate. Now, please proceed again, Honorable Member.
I'd prefer you not engage me in debate. Mr. Speaker, I move on. Since when the Speaker is part of the debate of the House? I'm obeying the rules. I'm obeying the rules. It's the Speaker that not obeying the rules, not me that not obeying the rules. It's the Speaker who not obeying the rules, not me.
Honourable
So tell the
Member,
Speaker
you are
obey the
out
rules.
of order. I will ask that you discontinue your speech now and take your seat. Honourable Member for Castries East.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise again to support this motion and to give further clarification to the process